Have you ever felt like the whole universe was testing you? Like every plan, every dream, every little bit of happiness you built just started to crumble right in front of your eyes? That's exactly how Arman felt one ordinary afternoon. It started like any other day. The same bus ride, the same coffee, the same hope that things would finally start going right. But sometimes, life doesn't give you a warning before it hits you with a storm. He walked into his office with a smile, unaware that within an hour, his manager would call him in and say the words that froze his heartbeat. Greater than, "We're sorry, Arman, the company has to let you go." It wasn't his fault. The company was downsizing. But that didn't make it any easier. As he packed up his things, his hands trembled. 3 years of hard work, long nights, and dreams of promotion, gone in minutes. He stepped outside into the busy street, feeling like the world had suddenly turned its back on him. His phone buzzed, a message from his girlfriend. He opened it, expecting comfort. Instead, the message read, "Greater than, I think we should take a break, I need to find myself." The words shattered him, not because she was leaving, but because she chose that moment, when he was already at his lowest. By evening, the sky turned gray. Rain began to fall, slowly at first, then harder, as if the clouds themselves were crying for him. Arman sat on a cold bench near the park, soaked and silent, watching people rush by with umbrellas. Everyone had somewhere to go, except him. He whispered, "Why me? Why does everything fall apart at once?" But the truth is, that's how life works sometimes. It doesn't destroy you piece by piece. It hits you all at once, to see what you're really made of. And in that silent, painful moment, as the rain fell harder and the night grew colder, Arman didn't realize that this was not the end of his story. It was the beginning of the lesson that would change his entire life. Cloud with rain. Days turned into weeks, and for Arman, every sunrise felt heavier than the last. He would wake up, stare at the ceiling, and wonder how everything in his life had vanished so fast. The silence of his room became unbearable. No sound of laughter, no morning messages, no sense of purpose. He applied for jobs every day, but all he received were rejection emails. Some didn't even bother to reply. Every no felt like another door closing on his future. At night, he'd walk through the city, passing glowing windows where families laughed and friends celebrated. He felt invisible, like he no longer belonged anywhere. Then one evening, as he scrolled endlessly on his phone, he stumbled upon a short video. The voice in it said, "Greater than, sometimes life breaks you, not to destroy you, but to rebuild you into something stronger." Those words hit him harder than any rejection ever could. For the first time in weeks, he stopped blaming fate. Instead, he whispered, "Maybe this pain is trying to tell me something." The next morning, Arman decided to take a walk. No destination, no goal, just movement. He walked for hours, past the markets, along the riverbank, through quiet streets. And as he walked, something inside him began to soften. He started writing. At first, his notebook was filled with anger and sadness, pages drenched in frustration. But slowly, his words began to change. He wrote about forgiveness, about patience, about how time, though cruel, was also gentle. One afternoon, an old man sat beside him on a park bench. The man read one of Arman's writings and smiled softly. "Greater than, your pain has a voice," he said. "You should share it. Someone out there needs these words." That night, Arman created a small blog. He posted his first story, hesitant, unsure, but honest. Days later, a comment appeared. "Greater than, I was about to give up today. Your story saved me." Tears filled Arman's eyes. In that moment, he realized something profound. His pain wasn't a curse. It was a bridge, connecting him to others who were lost like he once was. His wounds were slowly turning into wisdom. And healing had quietly begun. Sun behind small clouds. Months quietly passed, and with each sunrise, Arman began to see life differently. He no longer woke up with that heavy emptiness in his chest. The pain was still there, but softer, like an old scar that no longer hurt to touch. His blog had grown from a few quiet posts into a community of people who found comfort in his words. Every message, every comment reminded him that his story mattered, not because it was perfect, but because it was real. One morning, Arman received an email from a local youth center. They invited him to speak to a small group about resilience and healing. His first reaction was fear. Me? Speak? I'm not ready. But deep down, he knew it was time. On the day of the talk, he stood in front of 20 young faces, each one carrying their own silent story of pain. His hands trembled as he began, but his voice grew stronger with every word. He told them about the night he lost everything. About the loneliness, the rejections, the heartbreak. And then, he spoke about the walk, the writing, and the old man who told him his words could heal. By the time he finished, the room was silent. Then, one by one, people began to clap. A girl in the front row wiped her tears and said softly, "Thank you. I needed to hear that." In that moment, Arman realized, he didn't just survive his storm, he had transformed because of it. Weeks later, as he walked through the same park where he once sat broken, he paused by that familiar bench. The same rain-kissed air, the same flickering streetlights, but this time, he smiled. He whispered, "Why me?" Again, but this time, not from pain, but from gratitude. Because he finally understood. Life had never been unfair. It had been preparing him all along. The heartbreak made him compassionate. The rejections made him resilient. The loneliness made him wise. Time didn't erase his wounds, it taught him how to wear them proudly. And that's the truth about healing. It doesn't come suddenly like a sunrise. It comes quietly, like dawn, touching your soul when you least expect it. Sun behind small cloud.